are ready for day 11 of force fetch with Liesel. So today I went ahead and I've set up a ladder drill already. I've got 3 dummies that are going out up to a distance of about 50 yards from my initial send point. The nice thing about doing this 4 days in a row is that she should have some memory of what the drill is. So I've set these up before Liesel came out, and now it'll be sort of a blind retrieve for her because she didn't see me set them. And then to remind folks too, the whole reason we do these ladder drills is to try to build up their confidence in getting the distance out. So like I said, I've got these out to 50 yards. The idea being that once she gets to one rung of the ladder, if she's feeling like that's kind of far to go from me, she should see the next dummy out that will help pull her out as she goes back out a second and then finally a third time. And then it's also a really good lining drill, just getting her used to taking that nice straight line. That's why I'm still doing it on the driveway for now. In the future, we'll try it in other areas where it's not such an obvious line to follow. But let's go ahead and get started for today. Liesel, right here. Sit. Sit. Back. Good job! Here's my girl. Good dog, yes. Drop. Heel. Right here. Sit. Back. Yes, good girl. Very nice. Such a good dog. Yes. Good girl. Drop. Good. Good job. Yes. Liesel, heel. Ah! Come here. She grabbed it off the toss pile. Gotta reward her. Drop. Good girl. Heel. Sit. Back. Good girl. Good girl. Such a good dog. Good. Drop. Good girl. Good dog. All right, let's talk about what happened there. So it was actually kind of good to see her make a mistake there where on that third retrieve, she was just unsure of herself going that far of a distance. She didn't see the dummy right off. So she kind of veered off and went to the grass, and then she urinated, which today is day 14 of her heat cycle, so she is urinating a lot right now. But that's why I really like to teach the dogs a halt whistle before we get started with force fetch. So anytime a dog goes off on a retrieve, if they're not taking the line you want or not going far enough, a lot of times I will blow them down, and then it's a really submissive gesture for them to go into that down. So then I resend them, and a lot of times just doing that a few times is enough to encourage the dogs to just do it on their own because I don't want you to stop them and resend them. So all I did was I stopped her, got her lined up correctly, set her. She still didn't see the dummy right away, but she's already learning to kind of start moving out and trusting me that there is something there even if she can't see it. And then she eventually completed the retrieve. So a really good day for her. We'll keep extending the distance, and this drill just gets easier and easier. And you could see today up until that third one, the first two were a piece of cake, even though she didn't see me lay them. So we've kind of started laying a foundation for blinds. speaking of foundations for blind retrieves, we can do just a couple of those quick marked or memory mark drills. So stay. To make it a little new and different, I'm going to introduce yet another new dummy. If you haven't figured it out yet, before you start force fetch, have a ton of different dummies on hand. The more that you can have, the more variety, the more exposure you're giving your dog, so that any other new piece of game or anything else you introduce will be much easier for him to retrieve. So just a different type of random duck dummy. Just wanted to see different textures, different sizes. Good. Good girl. Ready? Heel. Good dog. Good girl. Drop. Good dog. Ready? Heel. Heel. Right. As I get better at this, I like to throw the dummy out further and further. So instead of just dropping it at my feet, I chucked it just so we get a little more distance. You might also notice too, so far tonight I haven't had to tell her to sit on her deliveries. She is just automatically doing it. So it's nice to see that you don't have to give a command there because it's become habit for her. Good girl! So good. Good dog. All right, now we'll just move into that double mark retrieve. Sit, stay, switch dummies. Once we build up the distance, I am tossing dummies. I know I said earlier that you should always walk and place a dummy, and that's certainly true. However, as long as you keep them in an obedient, sit, stay, as long as she knows this is a drill and she's got to comply with the command and it's not just a fun game. So don't get too fast with it either, but certainly to save time and walking, I start throwing dummies short distances. All right, we're gonna go first dummy first, just because that goes against their natural inclination. It gives you more of an opportunity to make a correction. And we want to make corrections because challenges are what help the dog grow and learn, not just always making it easier for him. And we're finally at the phase where we can, or the place where we can start pushing her and trying to make her make mistakes so that we can correct them now instead of worrying about it on test day. All right, heel, sit. Back. Good job. Look at that tail. Good girl. Drop. Yes, good. I'm not sure why she veered off at the last minute, but again, it just worked well to halt her and make her go get that one. Just helps them learn that they have to follow through. Please. Sit. Girl. Ignore the train whistle. just a little hesitation there where she stopped at the edge of the driveway. We do have a big sticker patch right along the driveway, and she knows that, so that's what that hesitation was. But ultimately I didn't say anything. I just let her work it out. She decided to high step through it. Alright, so the next thing that I wanted to work on with her is just starting to introduce some quick blind retrieves. And I think I'm going to have to stop the video and set up in a different spot, because I think best to do this, we should be in the grass where she can't necessarily see them. Oh. I've got a dummy throwaway pile, and of course she went and picked one up, so she needs to get a reward for that. Notice she picked a squirrel, always the favorite. Good girl. Drop. So I'm going to stop the video and we'll start it again as soon as I'm going to crate her too, so this is an honest blind and she doesn't see where the dummy is, and we can see how well she goes with just taking the scent. Alright, so we will be right back. Alright, we're back for part 2 of day 11 of Force Fetch with Liesel. I just put 2 dummies out in the yard behind me. The grass isn't very tall, but at least they're kind of camouflaged in, so she's going to have to just trust me. While I was placing those, she was hidden behind the building. She had no idea what I was doing. So now we're going to see how well all of this repetition has worked and see if she'll trust me enough to just go out and blindly search. Sit. We do have a bit of a crosswind coming from the west, so I placed the dummies, straight to the north. So if she's anywhere downwind, she'll win both of them too. And we're trying to help her since this is the first time. And I haven't really hit on it in previous videos, but you may have noticed I send her the exact same way every time. Routine is super important when you get into blind retrieves. The dogs really feed off of all of your physical cues. So I always line up next to her. I always stick out my right arm as kind of an arrow point. And then my left hand, I'm often petting the dog. I can't help it. And then as soon as I'm ready to send them, then I bring my hand up and tap her in the back of the ear, and that means go. I also always step with my left foot as I'm sending them on a retrieve. I do the same thing if we're heeling. It's always my left foot. Moving with her means move forward. If I step forward with my right foot first, that means she needs to stay while I move forward. So it seems like a minor detail, but dogs pick up on all that stuff. So I'm going to do all of that, but I wanted to explain it so you can watch for it in the video. So let's see how she does on a true blind retrieve. Ready? Liesel, come here. Sit. Nope, heel back. We always start from a heel sit position, all the way back. Come on. Sit. Line her up. Back. Good girl, good girl. Good dog. Good. Drop. Good dog. I think she saw that one right after I sent her, so she was very enthusiastic, but she's not going to see this next one, so we'll try again. But at least she started moving forward, and that's the whole point, is can they read your body language, your send command well enough to trust you to go. Alright, Liesel, come here. Come here. Sit. I'm going to blame this on day 14 of her heat cycle, that she's just dancing around a little bit instead of just sitting, right? Stay. Job. Drop. Yeah! Good job. Yes, so good. Liesel, come here. Good. Sit. Excellent. So she didn't go all the way out. That dummy was placed about 35-ish yards out. So she wasn't quite willing to go that far on a straight line yet. Obviously we'll need to do some more work with those ladder drills and then just some more of these blind retrieves. But what was really nice to see there is she did go out really nicely for about 15, 20 yards before she veered off and then kind of went into a search. But she knows she's supposed to go out, and that's the first step. And then all I did, I thought about blowing her down, but I thought in this case I don't want to do such a harsh redirect there. So all I did is I just took a few steps forward, I held out my arm and repeated the fetch command again, which I've done a few times when she's refused to retrieve some dummies in the past. But that was, again, a really good learning experience for her, because she knew as soon as I was walking out there was still a dummy out further out. So then she continued pushing, searching onward, found the dummy and brought it back. So I think that's a really nice start to blind retrieves, and we can keep building off that in days to come, but I think that is enough for day 11 of force fetch. Thank you.